Welcome to the Global News Podcast from the BBC. I'm Ankur Desai. On this episode, I'm joined by our business editor, Simon Jack. And Simon, there is a massive buzz in the world of AI because some giants of artificial intelligence are preparing to sell stock publicly for the first time. An intriguing, fascinating period of history. Just sum up where we're at right now.
I think it's a really interesting moment, a test, if you like, of the hitherto unbridled optimism for all things AI. We've seen hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars poured in to investing in AI infrastructure, into computing power, into data centers. And as you say, we've got a series of IPOs coming up, starting with SpaceX on Friday, followed sometime in the summer by Anthropic, the makers of Claude, and then sometime, we don't know when, for Open AI, who in a way were the people who brought us the buzz in the first place. People have been droning on about AI for ages, but it wasn't until ChatGPT, Open AI's product, came along that people went finally sat up and took notice. So where we're at is that most people agree it will be transformational. It may well hoover up lots of jobs and change the way the economies are structured. But will it earn a return enough to justify the staggering sums that are being spent on it? That, if you like, is the $4 trillion question. Because if you add up all these IPOs, you get to around $4 trillion. And so it'll be a kind of harsh test in the test of reality in the public markets, because up to now, quite an elite group of individuals and institutions have been able to own these things. As these things go public, an IPO, initial public offering, is the first time that the likes of you and me and people listening to this will have a chance to buy in themselves. And that's created a lot of excitement and a lot of people wondering which way it will go. All I will say is that, it could be quite volatile, and that to justify some of the valuations we've seen, 1.75 trillion for SpaceX, around $1 trillion for Open AI and Anthropic, you need to make some pretty heroic assumptions about how much money these companies are going to make in the future. Particularly, I would say, with SpaceX, right, where you're being asked to buy in to an interplanetary vision from Elon Musk of putting data centers in space, on the moon, and one day on Mars. Now, that's an awful lot to digest over a very long time horizon. So anyway, the scene is set for probably the most significant IPOs, stock market events in history.
There will be people like you and I, my aunt, my uncle, who say, oh, actually, I wouldn't mind a piece of that action. How likely is it that, this will be opened up to a lot of people just to be able to have a little dabble in the market, see how it goes? But then there might be that fear nagging, what if this AI boom doesn't last and the bubble bursts?
Yeah. I don't think that you should think that you are guaranteed to make money on this. Now, there is what they call a retail, for the likes of you and me and people listening, offering in most countries. There'll be a portion of the shares being sold, which will be earmarked for people who can go to their local stockbroker, their local investing platform, and say, I'd like to apply for shares. Now, people I've spoken to said there's been a surge, is the word they use, of interest in this, not just from their existing customers who already own shares, but from some people who say, this is the first time, this has piqued my interest, I want in. And in those situations, what they're generally saying is, if this is your first time investing, great, welcome. It's a good thing that you're going to invest in some of your money. Don't make this the only thing you ever invest in, because it's not guaranteed to go well. And so I think people should be reasonably cautious and not invest their life savings in one company. What most people advise is that maybe it's your first dabble or whatever, but you should add other investments so you get a bit of diversity, you get a bit of diversification
in your portfolio.
You know the lingo. So don't make this, don't put it all on this particular horse, if you like. But at the same time, those same stockbrokers are saying we'll waive the brokerage fees and we'll waive the currency, whatever
incentives.
So at the same time that they're giving these cautions about don't put all your eggs in one basket, they're actually they're lowering the drawbridge to get as many people in as they possibly can. So they spy an opportunity.
And Simon, this week, SpaceX is going to be the big story as well. We've heard for some time that this could make it $1 trillion company. Just explain why SpaceX is such a big deal. Is it purely because it's the Elon Musk factor? Is it because of this exploration of space and what that frontier could look like? And why are people so curious about it?
I think the Elon Musk factor is massive. I mean, some have referred to him as sort of the cult of Elon Musk. And he's made a habit of setting impossible goals which everyone doubted and then proving people wrong. So betting against Elon Musk has been a pretty unwise thing to do. He took on the combined might of the global car industry, revolutionized it with Tesla, and when everyone said he was going to fail, and he didn't, and that stock, those shares are still going up and are worth.
And everyone's still trying to copy Tesla, aren't they?
Well,
now, in
he
terms
certainly gave the global car industry a kick up the backside from which they're still trying to respond. The thing about SpaceX is all the glamorous stuff. You see him with the rocket boosters, which are falling back to Earth, and they're reusable, and they, with pinpoint precision, go back into the chopsticks, which catch them. And this is the great moment in interplanetary future of the human race. And he's got these plans for Mars and the moon and bases and data centers in space and all this kind of, Tony Stark, Iron Man kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
The truth is that SpaceX is not really about rockets at all, really. I mean, it's about rockets a bit, but it's mainly about the AI bit of SpaceX, because bundled into the SpaceX group of businesses is this thing called XAI, which also owns the platform formerly known as Twitter. It's now known as X. So of the $28 trillion market that SpaceX wants to address and get into, $26.5 trillion of that is in AI. So SpaceX is not really a rocket company, it's an AI company. So in that sense, it's just like Anthropic and OpenAI, which are coming down the track as well. And the one thing that people will point out is that AI is the one business in which SpaceX, unlike in rockets, does not have any particular commercial or technical advantage. In the AI race, most people would not put XAI, the bit that SpaceX owns, on the front grid. They would put Anthropic, OpenAI on the front of that grid. So he's got a lot of ground to make up, a lot of people to, a lot to prove if he's going to justify the whopping valuation of $1.75 trillion, which the bankers are targeting to sell it for on Friday.
So therefore, the timing of it, why now for Elon Musk and SpaceX? And how much is this a pursuit amongst tech giants to be first, but also be the best, I guess?
Well, at the moment, what they've noticed is that there is an almost sort of unlimited investor appetite for buying AI-related stuff, which means people are keen to buy shares. So the market for what they're selling is hot and has been hot for a very long time. And it's very common that companies which have been private, when they want to sell shares to the public, want to get the highest possible price for those, and so want to go into a market which is as hot as possible. Now, although it's going to be valued at $1.75 trillion, SpaceX is only selling between $75 and $85 billion worth of stock. So they're only selling off a small chunk of the company. But the price of those shares, we can work out the value of the whole company. So they're only selling about 5%. It's possible that Anthropic and OpenAI will do similar things. What people are worried about is that once you sell a bit in the initial offering, you can then start selling off more and more and more and more. You can start selling off more chunks. And what happened in the dot-com boom and then bust of the turn of the century is that they had a lot of these successful IPOs, and then the founders and people who owned it started selling the rest of it at whatever price people were willing to pay.
Is that a sign of greed?
Well, it was a sign of we may never get a chance to sell this stuff ever again.
Right.
Let's just sell it, whatever people are applying. And that's why you had that bust, because there was a huge surge of supply at any price, and that saw a big crash. You saw the Nasdaq fall about 75%. So although the market can easily absorb the morsels that they're selling off, you are looking at trillions of dollars worth of shares potentially coming onto the market. The question is, will people's appetite be sustained for that? And I think that's probably the biggest risk out there. Plus, I mean, even Elon Musk admits that to achieve what they were trying to achieve, they'll have to do things that no country has ever done before. So the bar is unbelievably high. But like I say, betting against him has not been a very wise move.
Simon, as always, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Simon Jack there, our business editor. Thanks ever so much for watching. Click on the link below for more Global News podcast content. For now, thank you for your time, and we'll see you on the next episode.